You know what?
Later.
Because we are about
we
to.
will not record.
We are about to fall into. We are about to fall into that bark. To be honest, on that note, that's probably a really quite a funny way to.
Welcome to Sorry I'm Rambling.
You guys have no idea. You have no idea how close that was, bro. That was so net beardy, bro. Like, we were so locked in right then. We would have fallen so far down that. Actually, you know what? Can we just fucking get this over? Can we get this over with so we can fall down?
We need to lock D&D Beyond out of our fucking iPads that we use for recording, so we don't do this. On that note, this is all staying in. Welcome to Sorry I'm Rambling, a podcast created by two chaotic geeks diagnosed with ADHD during adulthood. We are your hosts. My name is Emma. This is Jack.
Howdy. Ooh, sorry, everyone. We're really on one today. Yeah. I can't wait to clip this. Sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
This is all we are locking in.
Yeah.
Locking in. Today we're talking about tunes, baby.
I've got the wrong run sheet. Fuck, bro. Jesus Christ. I haven't even got the right notes up.
Oh my God, this is all staying in.
Fuck. What is a big, okay, what were we talking about?
Tunes, baby, tunes. We're talking about tunes. Party time excellent. Whether it be raving to some hard techno like we were yesterday during D&D, a live metal concert, a night at an acoustic melodic live show, or some jaunty tavern music to play D&D to. I got no tune in my notes, Steve.
Oh, no shit. Two D&D references straight away.
Oh my God, we're going to have to start making like a short of just us listing D&D bullshit while we're doing not D&D podcast.
Said that in the last episode.
Why are we like this?
Carry on.
There seems to be a bit of a special friendship between ADHDers and music.
It's true.
Music has been found to have a distinct effect on mental health down to a neurological response. So we're going to deep dive into our own experience with music, mental health, and some science time for how it all relates to ADHD.
Well, sounds fucking swell.
Yeah.
Sounds swell.
Tunes, baby.
Tunes, baby.
So how do we music?
How do we music?
Sure,
I'll go first. You and me? I'll go first. Okay, I'll go first.
DJ Jack.
So I'm going to talk about my background with me. What are you laughing at?
You got your notes up?
I do.
Right
I got the right notes up. Oh, fucking hell, man. Got the right notes up. So Jack's background in music, my background in all things music, and sort of reflecting back before diagnosis, where there are times that I needed music to focus, emotionally regulate, help with maintaining mental health. So my background with music, my sister is probably the single biggest influence on my music taste, and simply just liking music as much as I do. I wouldn't like music as much as I do without my sister having an influence.
Oh, that's nice.
It's lovely. Yeah. As well as my music taste.
Music
taste. Joe introduced me to a lot of music that I doubt I would have ever known otherwise if she didn't introduce it to. Whoa. Wow. Bear with today, all right? Bear with.
We're both medicated, by the way.
I've had 2 Dexies on top of my Vyvanse.
God.
So, as I was saying, my sister introduced me to a lot of music that I doubt I would have ever known otherwise from a very young age. Probably about 6 or 7, I remember listening to the music that Joe was listening to.
Yeah.
When I was 8, that's when I started to learn how to play the drums. I like to say that I'm a drummer by trade.
I forget that you're a drummer.
I was never very good. Like, I've got that written down. And like, when I left Nelson Bay and moved to Melbourne, I didn't bring my drum kit with me.
It's like kind of a hard one to travel with.
It's a hard one to travel with. Same as surfing. Like, I don't surf anymore because I'm not in Nelson Bay where my surfboards are. So can you imagine? You can't imagine.
I can't.
It's a different side. It's a different life. I know.
It's so like home and away. I can't.
I always say that
I forget
Nelson
that you
Bay,
are from like New South Wales coastal town.
I say to people, what's Nelson Bay? I go, think home and away, more churches.
Yeah.
Basically, I learned the drums for a year. I didn't when I was 8 and I didn't pick them. I dropped them, didn't pick them back up until I was in high school.
Yeah.
Then when I was, funnily enough, in high school, Joe started buying synthesizers and drum machines when I was like 13 or 14. Then we started to make music together. That was my intro into sort of electronic music, good and proper. I know. Tools.
Can I interrupt? That is like, as a very, very, very musical person in a very appreciates but isn't musical family. That was always like my dream as a kid.
Really?
To be able to like do music with my
Matt and Zoe, not a musical bone in either of their bodies?
No. Enjoy music.
Yeah.
Do not play.
Don't play. Don't. Yeah.
No.
Well,
No. So that's special. That's a special thing to have.
It is a special thing.
Yeah.
So we started making music together when I was 13 or 14, and Joe's 9 years older than me, so was in and around 24-ish, I guess.
Yeah.
23, 24. Actually, don't have this written down, but in real time, remembering this, you know what we called ourselves?
Oh God, what?
Acid Bad.
Okay, that's kind of great though.
It's not too bad because we liked Acid House.
Yeah.
Not too bad, right? Could be worse.
Acid dance music, acid techno, love.
Exactly, right? Acid House. Anyway, at some point, Joe bought a pair of CDJs, which is what you use to DJ with, or what we were using to DJ with. Shitty pair of Stantons. And I taught myself how to DJ, basically. When I was sort of 17, 18 is when I bought my first, when I was 17, I bought my first pair of proper decks. And I DJ'd house parties growing up in Nelson Bay. And then when I moved to Melbourne, more or less, I DJ'd down here from 2015 right through to the end of 2024, which is when I hung up the headphones.
And you're kind of back into it now.
Well, yeah, funnily enough, I did do my first gig in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
2 nights ago.
Yeah.
You muzzle top to me.
Yeah.
Now, so that's sort of my background in music. I hope that was fascinating for you.
Yeah.
Then in terms of reflecting back before I diagnosed, were there times that I used music to focus, emotionally regulate, et cetera, et cetera? Short answer is probably yes. Probably all of the time. I can't really think of specific moments in time pre-diagnosis where I was relying heavily on it. What I've got here, though, is the most obvious answer is that I've always needed music to train.
Yeah.
When I'm lifting weights.
Yeah.
It's not exclusive to people with ADHD, but without a doubt, it's a complete non-negotiable for me to have music playing while I'm training. If I don't have earphones with me, I will go home and get them if I forget them.
I'm like that too.
Right? Yeah. I keep a spare pair of earphones in the car.
Yeah.
Constantly charged or constantly recharging for this exact reason. You know? I cannot do it. It's a non-negotiable. I've nearly always used music whenever I'm doing chores. Before the days of YouTubing everything and whatever else, I would always, if I was just meal prepping or doing whatever, before I was big into YouTube, I would always listen to music.
Yeah.
Again, not exclusive to ADHD. However, I can't think of times pre-diagnosis where I'd use music to focus in the same way that I do now, unless you count lifting weights and doing chores with music as the same thing.
Did you have like second monitor content as music playing when you were like doing schoolwork or anything like that? No?
Never. Wow. Never, not at all. Like doing homework and assignments and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember what I would do if I did the homework and shit at all. And B, to answer your question, did I have second monitor content or music playing? No, not once, not at all.
Wow.
Yeah, never. I didn't start second monitoring until probably like 2021.
I did.
Video games. Yeah, I remember you told me about this.
Even studying in school, I used to put on concert DVDs to play I was, specific ones that I would play while I was studying.
That's interesting. Yeah. Because I've got a little bit later on, like specifically when I'm doing tasks these days, I'll use... If I'm editing videos, I like to use Nintendo music, specifically Nintendo music. It keeps me locked in. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're saying that when you were younger, you did the exact same thing.
Well, I don't think it was a conscious decision for me to choose a specific concert DVD for studying purposes. I think it was more I was a teenager who only had a certain amount of money to go and buy concert DVDs at JB Hi-Fi. We are Australian. But I would always have like the Afterglow tour DVD for Sarah McLachlan playing while I was
Sarah McLachlan. You got a poster up there. Sarah McLachlan, yeah.
There.
Did Sarah McLachlan do? No, never mind. Nope, I'm getting it wrong. I'm thinking of the Natalie something or other.
I'm going to need you to finish the sentence.
Shit.
Because I really cannot read your mind yet.
Yeah. It's not Sarah McLachlan. Who did that song? I'm not going to say. No. It's. I'm cutting this out because this is not good. Natalie, Australian girl from Neighbours, not Bassingwaith. Nope.
With long blonde hair?
Blonde hair.
In that band, the two of them?
Not the Rogue Traders.
Yeah,
No.
That's Natalie Bassingthwaite.
It's not her. It's a different Natalie. Doesn't matter. Sorry. So it's not her. So I would get Sarah McLachlan and that girl mixed up.
I'm shocked that I don't have blood coming out of my nose right now after that. Just
enter a rage, double damage.
Sarah McLachlan, Canadian. She's not
Not
Australian.
Australian, no. The only last thing I've got here, bringing us right back, is like most folks, pre-diagnosis, I would need headphones and earphones in places like airports, on planes, shopping centers, grocery stores, those type of things. And I've written here, as I'm writing this, realizing I do and have always used music in public places to help deal with the public in the public places.
Yep.
Put very, very simply.
Even though there is music playing a lot of the times in those locations.
Sometimes, and sometimes Coles FM fucks. Like sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's really good.
Well, most of the time it's really bad.
Most of the time it's really bad, and also just the people, the bangy, clangy, the this, that, the other. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's you.
Tell us about you.
Me. Well, my background in music, I am a singer. I taught myself guitar when I was a teenager. Not very good at it.
Self-taught, are you?
Self-taught.
You know, I've never heard you sing.
Really?
Not once. Not a single.
Sang at my friend's wedding.
Yeah, Mazel Tov. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you've told me about this.
Toby and Lucy's wedding.
Yeah, I remember, yeah. Carry on, sorry.
Yeah. One day. Yes, I'm a singer. I sang all the way through school. I was choir captain in year 12.
Were you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I did all the like school theatre and things like that.
Choir captain. That's some private school bullshit I've ever heard of.
I was house captain too. I was a fucking nerd.
Listen, I was school captain.
What?
You didn't know this? I was. You didn't know this? What a douchebag, right? You did not know. Yeah.
Unreal. Being school captain at my school is like you are the nerdiest fucking nerd of all time. I mean, like, I'm sure it was I was going to say the house captains were like the cool kids, which is why I was surprised that I got voted as house captain in year 12.
Douchebag. Douchebag.
Obviously, school captain, cool kid.
You should have seen the tight shirt. Hey, if you went to high school with me, how tight my white shirts were.
I don't doubt it,
bro. It was so bad. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
Yes, I was choir captain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Did all of the school theatre stuff. I was a main. I was main in. I was Miss Hannigan and Annie at school.
Wow.
Yeah, I was that kid.
Wow, you're theatre kid.
Theatre kid from a very young age. I come from a family of big music appreciators, but not necessarily musical performers, like I said. And once I got into university, I started enjoying performing music more and decided to go and live in the States for a few years to do music after I did a year of exchange at university.
Yeah. So just real quick, so we don't fall down that rabbit hole too far, but my understanding is you went to the States to study your psychology and neuroscience degree.
Yep. So in my second year of middle of my second year at university, I went and did an exchange program in Texas for what was supposed to be 6 months. I extended it to a year. Then from there, decided to go back because I did a little bit of travel before I went to do my exchange year of university. After my last 6 months of university, I graduated and decided to move back to Nashville in Tennessee.
You went over to the States for 6 months. You extended that to a year.
Yep.
Then you came back to Australia.
Finished my last semester of university.
And then you went back just to live.
To Tennessee, yeah.
Just to live, not to study this time.
Just to live.
Just to live with music.
Yeah.
At the forefront.
Yeah.
Because you're a country gal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm with you now.
I've always loved like folk country kind of music. And decided after I went to Texas for a year that I wanted to go back to Nashville to play music.
Not to interrupt. Question. Yeah. Do you think you would have gone to Nashville if you hadn't done the 6 months year previously in Texas?
No, because
don't think so at all.
No, well, I would have had to have kind of happened upon the music that I fell in love with more because I didn't know about the big music festival that happens there.
Right.
I didn't know a lot about the like music history in Nashville.
Right.
Because I mean in Australia, especially where we live in Melbourne,
not
a huge genre.
Right. Just so I'm understanding, you fell in love with country with you fell in love with your music. You fell in love with country music during your first 6 months in the States when you went to study there? Is that
as a genre, yeah.
As a
I
genre.
had my favorite band. Nope, all the posters are over there. Little Big Town. I discovered when I was studying up late one night in year 12 and went to go, this is such a sidetrack, went to go and see one of their concerts live when I was studying in Texas.
Right,
so
okay. And then
from there,
it snowballed. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
went and lived there for 3 years doing music. Once I got back to Melbourne, I didn't really play music live as much, but music has still been a huge part of my life. Before starting my meds, I would find that my mental health and like capacity for patience, emotional regulation and things like that would increase after attending a live gig.
Wow.
I would find that the effect would also not last all that long and would have a big crash the next day, if not a few days after.
A music gig come down, so to
speak.
speak.
I've always called it a bit of like a show hangover.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it, yeah.
I mean, even in real time, realizing live music, playing live music, attending a live show, very much a like dopamine thing for me, for most people. But my neurochemistry, I would have a really massive crash the next day.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. After I turned 30 though, I was never really a big clubby girl and I'm probably still not. But like after I turned 30, I discovered the like rave doof scene and very much love that entire scene now too.
The scene including the music itself?
Yeah.
Would you just listen to that type of music? You know, doofy, techno, would you just sit there and listen to it?
A couple of years ago, I would have said absolutely not.
Yeah.
Now, yes, totally.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm doing things like cleaning, chores, you know,
Gotcha.
Getting up and doing stuff.
Not to interrupt you, a quick side note. Do you remember yesterday when we were, just before we were playing D&D?
I did not even notice that it was playing.
So we were sat here and we were having quite an intense conversation, a really interesting, intense conversation with our friend of the show, Mikkel, and the music that was playing was like real, like 160 BPM hard techno. And I was like, Emma, do you mind if you just...
This is really intense.
It's a little bit intense. Do you mind if you just put on some ambient fantasy? And you were like, oh, okay, sorry. Like, yeah, sure.
I said I didn't even notice it was playing.
Yeah,
it
fully.
didn't even, and there's a reason for that we will get into
we'll
science time.
Yeah,
but
okay.
it did not even register in my brain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
And a big thing for me before diagnosis was that I would also constantly have headphones on, playing music, and reflecting back on that. Most of the time, it wasn't even for entertainment. It was just to like keep my brain on rails.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow, fascinating.
That's me.
Is that you?
That's me.
Well, we're moving on to a mini science time.
We certainly are.
How do music make the brain dance?
How do music make the brain
dance? Please tell us everything. Oh, wait, is this for me now?
Well, before we get into the science behind it, since you, as a DJ, have witnessed many a...
What a douchebag.
Many a brain dance.
Many a brain dance, yeah, my word. Yeah,
would you say that environment along with the music played tends to, have you witnessed it? Oh my God.
Hey,
bear
listen.
with us today, man.
Hey, listen. Listen, I'll take this one. I'll take it.
Help. Send help. I need an adult.
So what we've got here is a quick story time of witnessing firsthand how people behave while out listening and dancing to music. Yeah. So outside of the obvious fact that when you play music that people love, it's obviously really obvious that they love it. It's really obvious that they love it. And you can really control the mood of a room depending on what you're playing, which I've got here as its own like dot point, which is also kind of obvious, right? Of course. So to give you an example though, like if I'm at a venue where it's just like, you know, whatever, anything goes, like, you know, I call them keep the woo girls wooing type venue, you know?
Oh my God, I want a t-shirt that says that on it.
But that's the thing I always say anyway, so...
I was going to say someone who gives woo girl energy, but isn't necessarily a woo girl.
I'm cutting that out.
I get it.
I'm cutting that out. So to give you an example of when I play music at certain venues, if I'm playing pop punk stuff like the Veronicas or Paramore or something, I'll be watching people sort of thrash around and dance like teenagers and, you know, do a pop punky type thing, and you know, like jumping up and down. But then if I was to sort of move into a song like Candy Shop, I watch people turn into absolute filthy ferals. You know what I mean? Like throwing it back, even do, and I get like the stank face, like you can change it like that, and it's really fascinating and it's really, really fun. Similarly, people will get really mad if they don't like the music.
Yeah.
Like even if it's like everyone else in the whole room loves what you're playing and that one person has an issue with that one song or that one artist, they will hate it. They will come up and tell you.
Yeah.
Like often. Depending on the venue, right? It obviously now it's all venue and gig dependent, but it's very, very obvious if someone or a whole crowd isn't vibing what you're playing and how you're playing it. I have always said that depending on the venue, it doesn't matter how you're DJing, as long as you're playing the right type of music, people often don't care. That's not necessarily true though, because you could be picking all the right songs, but if you're not mixing it in a fun, interesting way, there is an element of people don't really care, they don't really understand or appreciate the nuances of it. That's fine. That's for DJs to understand, right? They're not going to. But at the same time, a lot of people do have this innate sense of like, oh yeah, this song to that song, though both of those songs were good, but it feels wrong. Like just the beat matching was off, and it's really ugly and weird going from this song to that song, and the DJ didn't do a very good job, even though the songs are good. People will feel that, and it does affect it, you know? That's all I've got.
I think that before we move on to the science behind this, it's interesting to kind of dive into that a little bit, that people tend to have an innate emotional reaction if music, even if they like it, isn't mixed correctly.
Yeah.
It's the same as, you choose to go to a concert for a particular artist. If that artist isn't playing well,
you can hear it. You can tell.
And it's the same thing for a DJ, but people don't necessarily equate the two.
It's not quite the same.
But it is the same.
It is the same. It's hard to explain. You can see it happen. So I used to DJ with this one guy a long time ago. This is a side
quest that we can cut out, but I want to hear the story quickly.
I used to DJ with this one guy, and he would always pick the right songs, but he was terrible at beat matching. He was an awful, technical, awful DJ, picking the right songs, but the transition between the songs was just awful, and you would watch people like stop dancing to wait to see what was coming next, and then they'd hear the song and they'd keep going. It was really weird. It was really bizarre.
But that's the difference between being able to make a good playlist and being a DJ.
Truly. Yeah.
Truly. You can look at a guitar and be like, that's cool. Cool guitar.
Yeah.
I've written a cool song, but I can't play the guitar.
Truly.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same.
There will be people out there that can read and write music, but they can't play the instrument.
Yes, there are definitely people out there
My favorite example of this is, it's not quite the same, but Jamiroquai, the band Jamiroquai, lead singer, cannot read or write music. Oh. Or at least I think. Don't quote me on that, Jay. I'm sorry. Like, if that's not true, there was a point, though, where he could not read or write music. He was just a really good singer. How fascinating. I had a good ear for music.
I have not done any kind of classical training for reading music.
Yeah.
I know the fundamentals, so I can read it, but I've got a good ear for pitch. So I can follow along with it, even though I can't necessarily read the music quickly and know what key or anything like that it is. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Science time.
Anyways, science time.
Dr. Emma.
Yeah. So when I did my degree as a musician and music lover, I always found it really fascinating when we got the opportunity to deep dive into studies done on the neurological response to music.
Just real quick, what are your degrees in?
Psychology and psychophysiology, which is the psychophysiology basically is the neuroscience behind psychology. So it all has to do with how your brain reacts in the behavioral sciences.
Gotcha. Copy that.
Which is really fun.
Really, really fun. Yeah.
And music therapy in particular is a huge field of psychology.
Is it really? I've
yes.
never heard the term music therapy in my whole life.
When I was studying, it was kind of what I was moving towards, was being a musical therapist. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is a huge thing.
Right.
So
tell us more.
Let's do a quick science time to discuss what happens in what we're talking about now is the neurotypical brain.
Okay.
And when you listen to music.
Okay.
So music acts like a total brain workout. It activates pretty much every spot in the brain. It is processed in the auditory cortex, which is where you hear and process sound. It's processed in the motor cortex through rhythm and movement, the limbic system through the emotional response, and the hippocampus through memory. Memorizing music.
And that's in the neurotypical brain.
That's in the brain.
That's in just all brains? Wow, fascinating.
Assuming that every part of that brain works.
Okay, gotcha.
In the neurotypical fashion.
Copy that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, that is fascinating.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
There's been numerous research done that found that music training through learning or playing an instrument increases neuroplasticity, which basically means that your brain can create new pathways to either go around a damaged part of the brain or learn things more easily.
Whilst listening to music?
Learning, playing, and listening to music increases neural plasticity. In the brain.
Okay, I see. I misunderstood. I thought you meant like listening to music makes learning things in general easier.
No. So
Okay, gotcha.
so listening to and learning music.
Copy that. I'm
Yeah.
with you. Yep.
So basically neuroplasticity is strengthening the brain's ability to make new connections.
Gotcha.
Music is used in several different therapy applications, including music therapy. It's used in psychological applications, music therapy, and is also used in the treatment in a treatment plan for Alzheimer's patients to aid in memory retrieval.
Wow, real cool because you do see those reels that make everyone cry, where it's like someone with really bad Alzheimer's or dementia, and you put them in front of a piano, and they can either keep playing or it brings them back. They know what's going on. They don't know what's going on anywhere else, but they can recognize what's going on there.
Yep.
That is wild.
It's also used for people who have had really intense things like a stroke and they can't communicate in the normal fashion. So they can communicate when playing an instrument, singing, things like that. There have been specific studies that have seen people with really severe like stutters and things like that go completely when you're playing music because it's using the parts of the brain that are used to speak or hear, but in a different way.
That is fascinating.
Isn't it amazing?
So fascinating.
Yeah.
And real quick, similar to that, I have seen reels similar, I believe, of mostly kids with learning disabilities or severe autism who have trouble speaking, but they can sing so well. Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing,
It's fascinating. Yeah.
And then there is rhythmic entrainment as well, which is the brain's motor system naturally synchronizing with the musical beat. So it helps patients with things like Parkinson's and stroke.
Really?
Stroke victims to regain movement control.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Music is a crazy thing on the brain.
Yeah.
Okay, and before we move on, I want to cover a fun phenomenon that I am fascinated with called frisson.
Wow.
Frisson.
I have a question.
It's French.
I have a question. It's about rhythm and how some people do and don't have rhythm.
I don't.
Do you not?
No, fuck no.
Okay,
well, I'm not going to go deep. I won't go so sidetracked. But short answer, no. I'm terrible hand-eye coordination, but can really easily follow a beat musically. But I can't dance.
Okay. Well, okay. So here's my question for you, right?
Yeah.
Should we wait till the end of frisson though, or should I ask it now?
Ask it now.
Okay. So people who have really bad cannot follow a beat, right? I've got a mate, Tim. You've met Tim.
Yeah.
Tim, you've got no rhythm, bro. Like Tim can play piano quite well.
Yeah.
No rhythm. Like just no rhythm. You see Tim tap his foot.
Yeah.
He taps it on not like off beat.
Oh, no.
Or like on every like third.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Someone not having rhythm, do you have an answer for that in terms of neurochemistry, neuroplasticity pathways? Is there some part of their brain that is different to mine who I do have rhythm?
So, short answer, do I have a full-on scientific explanation behind it off the top of my brain? No. There is an explanation though, because it would have to do with the pathways between the auditory cortex in the brain, which is basically like where your ears are, and the
movement?
motor cortex.
Yeah. Okay, right. So there would be something in there.
Absolutely would be pathways between you processing sound and hearing it and your brain synchronizing rhythmic entrainment, synchronizing with the beat of music.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow.
And someone like me who has really good musical rhythm, but horrifyingly bad hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
People have always said to me, I can't believe you can play guitar. Like,
you trip over fresh air.
I drop things from nowhere for nothing, not moving.
Just standing there and drop
it. And all of a sudden, my hands go.
This is when you hit your glasses off your face yesterday.
Yeah, because my meds were gone. That's probably the first time you've seen me be that clumsy.
That was really funny.
It was because it was the end of the day and the meds were out of my body.
Yeah, truly. Just bag you
fully.
Oh my God, it was so funny.
Yes, so I can keep a beat really well, but I can't do things like learn a dance, like choreography. Well, I can learn it. I can't do it very well.
Yeah.
I have horrible hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, that's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dr.
Interesting,
Emma.
right?
Frizen, tell us all about it.
So have you ever wondered why music can give you a full body chill and make the hairs on your body stand on end?
Every day of my damn life, I wonder. Tell us.
It is because of a thing called frisson.
Frisson?
Frisson. It's French for shiver.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
yeah.
That's wow.
And it is also known by the names aesthetic chills or psychogenic shivers.
Ooh.
And psychophysiologically, the response is to rewarding stimuli in things like music, movies, stories. Yes.
No.
Say it.
No. What did you call it? What'd you call it?
Psychophysiologically.
No, it's something shivers. What'd you call it?
Aesthetic shivers. Shivers.
Aesthetic. And what was the other one?
Aesthetic chills or psychogenic shivers.
Psychogenic shivers sounds like a spell casting.
It sure does.
Sounds like I cast.
D&D.
Yeah. And it hurts them and they take psychic damage. I'm sorry.
We can homebrew a spell called psychogenic shivers.
Okay, Cara, you need to keep going because holy...
This episode is never going to get filmed.
Go.
Too much D&D.
Go. Oh my God, that is such a good idea.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
Okay.
So frisson can happen outside of music. Okay. It can happen when you're watching a movie. It can happen when you're listening to a story, things like that. It's categorized by a quick onset pleasurable state that includes that full body shiver or tingle that can sometimes be described as a wave rather than it all happening at once. Goosebumps and pupil dilation, which are all physiological responses that we cannot control. The psychological component of frisson is mediated by the reward center and sympathetic nervous systems in the brain.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
You think?
Not at all.
It felt like you were ready to say something.
Well, kind of. I put it. I put it together. You said dope. What'd you say?
The reward centers and sympathetic nervous system.
And it was just me going, I know what those mean. And I know that our meds stimulate both of those. And that was me clicking it. That's all you saw. You just saw my you just saw my eyes light up because I know a thing.
Yeah,
that's
you
all
do
that
know
was.
a thing.
Oh my God, this is bizarre.
We're on one today.
On one, bro.
Imaging studies have found that people who experience frisson tend to show increased connectivity, physical brain connectivity between sections of the brain responsible for processing auditory information in the temporal lobe, specifically the anterior insula, and for rewarding centers in the brain. Okay. So in other words, there is greater volume of white matter connectivity between those areas in the brain, which makes an individual more likely to experience.
Right. So some people have more brain matter connecting the reward centers of the brain and their auditory parts of their brain. Wow. And those people are more likely to experience frisson. Wow.
Yeah. So that stronger brain connectivity. So research has indicated that people who experience the intense, frequent frisson also possess a higher volume of fibers connecting the auditory cortex to the medial prefrontal cortex as well, which is where you mediate emotion.
Right. So the medial prefrontal cortex is connected to the what now? What was the one you said before?
The feel bone's connected to the ear bone.
Yeah. That's what you just. That's what. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Nick.
So some people's feel bone and hear bone are connected better, meaning are connected more.
Yeah.
Which means they feel more emotion when they hear certain things.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, so your auditory cortex, where you hear things, has more connectivity between not just the medial prefrontal cortex, where you process emotion, but also the reward centers of the brain. So you hear thing, and you're flooded with good.
You're flooded with feel good,
which is from the emotional centers of the brain. So then you get things like shivers, goosebumps, stuff like that.
Cry,
Studies have also found a positive correlation between neurodivergence like ADHD and autism, and reported consistent experience of frisson.
Wow. This is fascinating.
Isn't it? It fascinates me because I get it so hardcore all the time.
Same, 100%. I think I talk a little bit more about it later on, but like there are so many certain circumstances where certain types of music, certain types of songs just make me weep. Do you remember what I looked like when Pretty's mother?
Yes.
Do you remember? Guys, D&D.
D&D.
We are so obsessed.
D&D in this episode
obsessed. But long story short, a character died in the campaign and I was DMing and the song that came on and the story and everything, I was crying as I couldn't get through it. You remember? I was really struggling to get through it. It was so full on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I have had that happen before too, even when... And another sidetrack, earlier this year for my birthday, when my brother and his fiance took me out to that's the first time I've said that.
I was just about to say, are you allowed? Do I need to cut that out? No, it's on Instagram. No, we can leave that in.
Is it on Instagram?
Yes, it's on Instagram.
Did they post it on? Did Tilly post it?
Tilly posted on Instagram.
There we go. Tilly and Matt took me out to see the second Wicked movie for my birthday, and like first note of a song. All my hairs went boing on my arm, and I just turned to Matt and went, and Matt was like,
yep, I'm with you.
Like, the music hadn't even really started yet.
Yeah. I know the feeling.
Straight away, it happened. It's so wild, eh?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, shall we move on? ADHDers and music.
Please.
Bouncy brain raver babies.
I didn't read the bouncy brain raver baby.
I'm a bouncy brain raver baby.
Okay, well, Emma, look, tell mini science time. Why does music focus my brain or slow the ADHD brain down?
Yeah.
Why do that good techno calm me? Why?
There's many reasons why.
Tell us everything.
So, we're talking about things with that 140 to 160 BPM range specifically right now, because there's been a lot of chatter in my feed at the moment about the connection between ADHDers and the raver doof scene.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can I jump in real quick with what I thought you were going to say? Was like, I see reels talking about why do I get overstimulated in supermarkets, but going to a rave calms me right down.
Same.
Yep. Okay, I'm with you.
So, there is a theory called optimal stimulation theory. According to this theory, individuals with ADHD have a lower baseline for arousal. So because our body doesn't have enough of the brain petrol to remember how I've always said on other episodes too, that our meds don't calm us down. They actually bring us up to baseline, right?
Yes.
So our body needs more stimulation to feel that normal calm baseline.
Gotcha. Yep. I'm with you.
Like a rave.
Okay, I'm with you. So it needs to be extremely stimulating in order for it to have that sort of baseline effect.
Yeah. This could also be this theory could also be cut and paste onto things like second monitor content though.
Okay.
You know, as
an
ADHD, me specifically, I have even through high school always had music, a music concert, DVD, something playing in the background to help me focus and study. Having our headphones on to keep us on rails.
I'm with you.
That all falls into that optimal stimulation theory.
Copy that.
Yeah.
I the only thing I want to say is I mentioned this in a previous episode. I don't remember which one it was. Dopamine, I think, in the room with us, where I spoke about I can't play certain video. When I'm unmedicated, there are certain video games that I can't play because I won't be able to lock in. And then similarly, the only way I can play certain games is if there is second monitor content playing.
Yep.
Fascinating.
You need more stimulation to get you up to that baseline.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Another reason that music in particular helps the ADHD brain is, as we've discussed many a time in other episodes, dopamine. So music as a pleasure response releases dopamine into the body. So it helps the brain focus and do things that require executive function.
Not to derail, but I have a question about that.
Yeah.
If you have someone who has ADHD and they have a lot of brain matter, more connective bits from the ear bone to the dopamine center.
Yep.
Would that person with ADHD experience more pleasure from music than someone who didn't have as much connectivity?
I'm actually a good example of that.
Oh.
So obviously I have nothing to back this up, but as somebody who not only experienced Frizzen a lot, but also, like I said, I go to a live concert, feel awesome, and then have a massive crash afterwards. That would suggest that my brain is pumping shitloads more dopamine into my body while I'm at a concert or listening to music that I love. And then because I have ADHD, I have a massive crash afterwards because I can't make more.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. So the question I asked was yes.
Yes.
I gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am a good example of that.
You're a good example of that. And to be honest, myself included, I do be a musical guy.
Yeah.
So arguably we get more dopamine from music because we have more brain matter connecting our ear bone to our feel-good bone.
Assumedly.
Allegedly, assumedly, versus someone else who may also have ADHD, but they just don't have as much connectivity between their ear bone and their feel bone.
And their reward center bone.
I really hope that made sense, everybody.
Did
that make sense?
We've been studying from the Dr. Nick from Simpson School of Medicine.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, we do have our degrees from
Silly Goose University.
Silly Goose Ecology. Correct. Anyway, carry on.
So another reason that music is a big one for ADHDers is because music can be used by a lot of neurodivergent people for emotional regulation, to regulate or also release emotion that feels really intense.
Right. That's interesting.
So using it as a tool for things like emotional regulation rather than a neurotypical person who may not.
Right. So say someone would use, if they need a good cry, they might listen to some music and that's what helps them get a good cry out.
Yeah.
And if they didn't listen to music, they might have a harder time.
Not only that, but from a neurodivergent perspective, somebody listening to music to have a good cry, but also feel like that cry is manageable and not going to get out of control.
Gotcha.
Because you've got more of that emotional regulation happening in the moment.
Fascinating. Yeah. How fascinating.
Yeah. And the last one, which you spoke about in your kind of background with music, is filtering distractions. So rhythmic and familiar music can help mask distracting environmental noise. Public being public.
How dare the public be in a public place?
And allow an ADHD's brain to have that selective attention on a task rather than all of the other shit around you that you can hear louder than it's actually happening in reality.
So it's like I have to do this mundane task. If I pump my ears filled with music, the dopamine will flood in from the music, making the task easier to deal with.
And making all of the distracting things around you not as distracting.
Copy that.
Because you got the filter. You got a coffee filter on your brain.
You got a coffee filter. That metaphor doesn't. Yes. Carry on. My metaphor worked fine. Don't add another one. Carry on.
We're on one today.
Wait, that was the last one.
So no. Oh. So now we're going to talk about from a rave culture perspective.
From a rave. I've never been to a rave. We
need to go to one. They're so far.
Do we have to camp?
No.
Okay, thank God.
What about that one day one that I sent? The tickets are kind of expensive.
Are they?
Yeah, I looked it up. They're like $200 and something, but also it's just a one day thing.
I mean, what's the definition of a rave though? Like
Doof rave.
Doof rave. Yeah, no, I've never been to a rave.
It's so
been
fun.
to music festivals, but never
different.
Yeah,
different.
Let's go.
So fun. We're gonna go.
We go to
so fun.
Yeah, we go.
As 2 we'll do it for research.
Absolutely for research, for sure. 10 out of 10.
And here's some things that you will experience at a rave.
Could be a write-off.
As an ADHD, raves do also have that dopamine boost, which we've already discovered. But remember rhythmic entrainment that I spoke about before?
Entrainment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the brain basically getting into the same beat with the music that you're listening to.
Gotcha.
Because doofs, raves typically have music that plays between that 140 to 160 beats per minute.
Constant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The high BPM helps entrain the brain's internal timing to decrease mind wandering.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes
and
sense.
manage impulsivity.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
We won't discuss things like binaural beats and stuff like that today, but it's the same kind of concept.
Right.
That not only the beat, but also the like wave of the music that you're listening to can change your brainwaves.
Fascinating. So, okay. So I know we're not going to talk about it, but is that like those hertz ranges that like?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. Which we're not going to talk about.
Which is binaural beats.
Okay, gotcha.
That's the hertz range as well as
Copy
the
that.
beats per minute. We can do a short on that.
I'm sure we can.
Yeah. We'll talk about it another time. This episode will be 5 hours long if we talk about that. Yeah. So the other big one that we will cover why ADHDers and love a rave is neurological and cognitive scaffolding.
Okay.
So the consistent fast-paced rhythm of EDM can act as an auditory anchor for a person and help them to like focus and concentrate without other stuff cluttering up the brain.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Could you apply this to other types of music as well?
Absolutely. Although you know what? I don't think so. Yes, no.
Yes, but maybe not.
Yes, but no.
Right.
Thinking in real time, the doof rave is a specific type of environment.
Yeah,
Not only is there a very specific type of music at a very high BPM that can't really be cut and pasted to another genre. Maybe metal?
Yeah, true.
You know?
Yeah, maybe, perhaps, yeah.
It'd have to be high BPM. The environment is very like enclosed. There's a lot of like light stimulation, things like that. It's not just the music, which is a big part of it, but it's also the environment that music is played in.
The vibe.
Yeah.
But the reason I ask that is because I've always wondered the dubstep, right?
Yeah.
I
love it.
I love dubstep, but I can never articulate why, because it's not like it's got a really good melody, or it's not like it's got a really good, it's a bunch of crunchy, robotic, like wet, squishy, like crunching. Is it similar is what I'm getting at? Is the reason that we like it similar to everything you've just gone over?
So yes. So dubstep, techno, things like that would all be something that would be played at a rave or a doof.
Gotcha.
And so could all be applied to this. That particularly dopamine release aside, because that happens at plenty of different types of music events. The rhythmic entrainment and neurological scaffolding are two big ones that not only does your brain kind of get into that rhythm and help you to focus, but it also allows you to, there's so much other stimuli going on around you that, like having your headphones on while you're doing stuff to be on rails, it's like that for the whole environment.
Okay, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
Yeah, and the big one is that I have experienced before that you might not have at a dubstep show is hyperfocus on the flow of the music. So the wall of sound from bass and music can create a state of like flow or hyperfocus, offering a mental break from loud ADHD brain.
Gotcha. Okay, no, I'm with you. Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah. That's so fascinating.
Wrapping that all up, basically, cognitive scaffolding, the high BPM and repetitive nature of all forms of EDM causes a neurological response in an ADHDer's brain that allows them to regulate energy and emotion and go into like a deep focus concentration.
How fascinating.
Acting almost like a dopamine-based focus medicine.
Wow. So there you go. Yeah. All you doofers out there, there you go. Thank you, Dr. Emma. Wow.
Thank you, Lucy, Toby, and Izzy, for making me a doofer.
Thank you, Lucy, Toby, and Izzy, for making you a doofer. Keep talking while I find the fucking...
The doof button?
There we go. Thank you, Dr. Emma. That was wonderful. Fascinating. Well, you've got here, you want to find out our connections between... Sorry, I fucked that up completely. Do Jack and Emma find their connection and experience with music different post-meds?
To wrap it all up.
Right?
Yeah.
Shall I go first?
Yeah.
God, I completely cooked that segue.
It's kind of your thing now.
Cooking segues?
Yeah.
It really is, isn't it? Yeah. I didn't mean to.
I love it.
Okay, good. I'm glad. So I find that these days, post-medication, that I listen to certain types of music far more intentionally now. So, for example, nowadays I will use certain types of music to focus, whereas previously I didn't. Mostly these days as well, ambient fantasy music is what I will use to help myself focus.
Yeah.
So if I'm writing programs or writing D&D things, those types of stuff, I will use this sort of ambient music to focus. And then, like I said before, when I'm editing videos, I'll use Nintendo music specifically. And don't ask me why. I couldn't tell you. It's familiar. I put a lot of Nintendo music on the videos that I make, so it gets me in the mood. It gets me in the vibe and it keeps me there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, the other thing as well is using music for D&D is something that I get incredibly granular with. I have always, having said that as well, it's a complete side note. I remember once in year 10, I had to do a project where we had to like rewrite Macbeth. And we had to change.
So random.
We had to change the setting because it was set like medieval, right? We had to change the setting to something else, and I made it. And you had to like write the music and the characters and this, that, the other.
Your English teacher just saw Romeo and Juliet by Baz Luhrmann and went, "I'll do that with Macbeth."
I went so hard on this.
I
went so hard. I went to town with picking the music, and this was when I was like 16. Love that project. I think it was some of my best work still to this day. I will sit for ages trying to craft the perfect playlist for perfect moments in D&D, for example. I care a lot about it. Same thing when I'm DJing as well. It's like, obviously it goes kind of without saying, all you DJs out there know this, but like picking the right song for the right moment at the right time of night is very, very important. You can't go too hard too soon. You can't, like, so a girl will come up like, "Can you play Britney Spears?" It's like, "Babe, it's 8:30. We'll get there."
No one is drunk enough.
Not yet, not yet. And I don't, at the moment, other than DJing and D&D, I don't really do that for anything else. And I don't really use any other types of music specifically for anything else. Like even when I'm training, I don't have, sometimes I really feel like I can't listen to anything with lyrics. I can't listen to a band. I can't listen to anything that sort of is a journey through a song, for lack of a better word, which is when I will then listen to, funnily enough, like you just said, something a bit more repetitive. I'll listen to tearaway dubstep, like that kind of thing, just because it's filthy and feral and
you need something to lock
stimulating.
You need that neurological scaffolding.
I need that neurological scaffolding, correct. I will say that the ambient stuff helps me way more than just when I need to work. Sometimes if I'm just sitting there, I'm just doing nothing, or I'm going for a walk, or I'm reading, putting that ambient fantasy music on, or just ambient noises. Like on the iPhone, you can use like ambient water running or something like that. That's enough sometimes, just to have something going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's me. That's what I've got.
Interesting.
That's what I've got. Yeah. Tell about you.
It's really interesting that you said that you listen to music more intentionally post-diagnosis, because I literally put the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've become more aware of how much my mental health is helped by music, but I also have noticed that I listen to music for entertainment a lot more now than I used to. Yes, that I'm not necessarily just putting on music to have something in the background, to have that second monitor content anymore, that I'm going back to how I was as a kid, listening to music and like hearing it rather than it just being sound to keep my brain on rails.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating. Can I comment something similar with that?
Yeah.
Is when I am like, when my medication is really strong, when my Vyvanse is really, really strong, I struggle with second monitor content sometimes, because like I'm trying to listen to what the video is saying, but I can't play the game at the same time, especially if I have to read something like on the game.
There's a reason for that.
Tell us everything.
There is a reason for that. I cannot remember the name off the top of my head, but it's a neurological response, because essentially in the auditory cortex, the spots where you speak and write language is like close to one another. So you can't like, you know when you're listening to a piece of music and you're supposed to be writing something else down and you start writing the lyrics.
Yeah.
That's
similar. Yeah. I can't read the words while I'm listening to what the guy is saying, and vice versa.
It's because those spots in the brain are really close to one another, and so you kind of can do one or the other.
How comes I find it easier when I'm unmedded though? I can do that.
Because you're not focusing fully on one or the other.
Oh yeah, true. That's not multitasking, jackass. Do you remember that?
Oh my God. That was such a deeply cutting read. I saw your face be like, She's so true.
She's so right. Yeah. I don't remember. What was it? It was like I couldn't multitask, meaning like I couldn't play video games and listen to anything anymore. And
you were like, can I wash I can't wash dishes and listen to a podcast anymore. And I was like, is that multitasking?
And no, it's not. No, it's not. I couldn't. Like, I just couldn't. But it's not multitasking.
Oh my God, that was so.
It was
funny.
really funny. Anyway,
we'll link the episode that happened in below.
Carry on.
I have also noticed that my mental health is definitely very much affected by music. That raves really do help me focus more than I realized pre-meds.
Wild, yeah.
That a good shower sing can solve most problems.
Yeah.
And rediscovering my love for actually listening to music rather than it just being background noise has been a huge one for me post being medicated.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Is
That's
that you?
it. That's me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fine. Fascinating.
Have you got any final bits to add?
Every time I'm asked that question, nothing comes to my mind.
Brain empty.
No. I'm sure there's heaps that I would love to add, but I can't think of it right now. So no, music make feel nice.
Music do make feel nice, I really do mean that. A good shower sing along can solve most things.
Absolutely,
it's like having a sandwich will make you feel better.
Absolutely, yeah. I will say this.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to jump in with before and forgot when we were talking about how the emotional it helps us emotionally regulate.
1000%.
Try this, all right? Especially you blokes out there that feel like you can't cry.
Yeah.
One thing I do, I've spoken to you about this in the morning, is when I'm going for my morning walk at like buttfuck early, it's Sparrow shit itself.
Yeah.
And I listen to certain types of music, particularly video game scores, funnily enough, but particularly video game scores, I will just cry in the morning. There's nothing going on. There's nothing wrong. Perhaps I've been a little stressed. I've been really busy. Maybe I feel a little bit pent up, but sometimes some music just sets me off and I feel like it's what I need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a good pressure valve release.
Correct. It's correct. That's the shifter that's releasing the pressure valve.
Yeah.
Yes, it's opening that pressure valve. The music helps me with that.
Yeah.
So if you ever need a good cry,
and you're a big music fan,
and especially if you're a boy and you don't cry with a little bit of music. Yeah. It's nice. Good for you.
It's healthy.
It's healthy.
Yeah. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching and listening. Make sure you do all the things like liking and subscribing and sending this to your concert crew and your doof buddies. And remember, be kind to your brain because you only get one.
Certainly do.
Bye. We're going to do
Bye.
Important disclaimer. We are not medical or mental health professionals. Any discussions about ADHD, medication, side effects, or psychological effects is based solely on our personal experience. This podcast is not intended to give medical advice, diagnose conditions, or recommend treatments. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before starting, stopping, or changing any medication or treatment plan. The only PhDs we hold are honorary doctorates from Silly Goose University.